Hello, thank you for joining us with this task. We're going to be looking at a line chart which has a comparison between rainfall and average temperatures. Now, what we've got here is rainfall in millimeters and average temperatures. So let's look at how we've constructed this. And let's have a look at our instructions. So we're creating an appropriate graph to chart or show the comparison of the rainfall and average temperature for each month in only Town A. Now Town A is column B and column D. We are to use a second value axis to the chart for the temperature series and label and scale these axes appropriately. So let's get this line graph back. For this we will highlight column A and B, then holding the control button down and then left mouse we slide just the column D. Now both Town A and Town A are shaded, Town B and Town B are not selected. So we will insert a line graph, just a simple line graph, two-dimensional. Right, and here is the line graph that we are asked to find. We need to find a secondary axis. Now notice this red line is very low. The blue line is fine, it goes from 0 to 250, but the red line, those scales don't really give us an idea of what the numbers are. So let's select the red line and we're going to find what they call a format data. Now by selecting the red line, we're going to right click once we've selected the red line. So right click. Now we're going to format the data series. So format that. Waiting. And we're asked to plot a secondary axis. So let's select secondary axis. And there we have a secondary axis. And as you can see, we've got 0 to 300, and now we've got the secondary axis, -5 to 25. Now, what we have to do is we have to adjust these values to, and the instructions were label and scale these axes appropriately. So let's leave the labeling to last. Let's look at the scaling. If we select these numbers here and then right click, and we will format, let's format that axis. Okay, format that axis. Okay, now we've got minimums and maximums. We want to adjust the maximum so it's not so large because the blue line goes up to 250. So let's maximize that out at 240. Okay, let's close that. All right, we've selected that. Can't reach the close button at the moment. Now we're going to adjust the axis over here. So we select these axes, we right click, and we will format this axis. Now a minimum, let's choose minimum as -1 because we've got, it goes down to -5, but we want to maximize this. Let's maximize this at 23. All right, so that pushes it up, and we've got the numbers 4, 9, 14, 24. We don't have 24 appearing. And there we've got an appropriate scale that covers the entire graph. There's no excess wastage up here. Now we have to do a label. So if you recall, we can have a look at these quick layouts. Let's add a chart element. So we come over here, let's add axis titles, primary, a vertical. There it is. And add a secondary axis title, vertical, and there it is. Let's label this, double click, and call this an appropriate name. We'll call it the cumulative rainfall in millimeters. And we'll also double click on this axis title, and we will put an appropriate label, average temperatures, average temperatures. Let's just select an appropriate title, rainfall, and average temperatures for town A. Okay, have we done everything we were asked to do? Let's just check. An appropriate graph, we've selected a line graph to compare, and yes, it's rainfall and average temperatures just for town A. We've added a second value axis, secondary axis to the chart by clicking on the red line, and we right click for the menu to get that formatting data series, and we selected secondary. Then by selecting on the numbers here, we could get a minimum and a maximum, and by adding chart elements, we've got the vertical labels for each axis, and we've got a good title for the graph. All right, I hope that's been helpful, and the next task that we will look at will be to do with formatting graphs and charts, which will in fact be our last data analysis video for now. So until then, stay happy.